So this is the really dark side of Airbnb. This is what no one tells you, and it's the God honest truth of what it's like running an Airbnb. We've been doing this for 7 years, since 2018, and we're just gonna be honest with you.
Let's dive into it. Okay, welcome back everyone. Michael and Katrina here with STR Wealth Academy, where we talk about all things short-term rentals and how to build long-term wealth. Now, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified anytime we release new content. Now, in today's video, what we really wanted to talk about was we got a kind of a shocking and interesting note from a colleague of ours. They basically told us that they are considering leaving the industry altogether. And what was really surprising about this note was that just a few weeks prior, we were getting all this communication about how they were going to go full time with their spouse, how they had all these plans, how everything,
They loved it. This was great. And then in a few short weeks, a complete flip in 180. And I'll be transparent with you. This is the first time we have seen this. Like, this is something I've seen quite a number of times. And we just wanted to do a real honest kind of deep dive with you guys into our experience with short-term rentals and what you should know before really getting into this. And this is kind of the dark underbelly of Airbnb that no one talks about.
So we just want to have an honest conversation with you, because what we often see from other peers in our industry is that the opportunity in the short-term rental space is very poorly portrayed in terms of how passive the opportunity is, how little work there is to short-term rentals, how it's kind of a set it and forget it kind of business that you just have to click a few buttons and tap a few little screens here and there, and all of a sudden all your financial problems and woes are going to go away. And
kind of frustrating.
It's kind of BS too.
Yeah. And I'll be completely honest, guys, it's not some quick rich scheme. It's not click money. Like, this is not like something that you can just get into it and make the millies with, right? Like, you really have to come into this with intention. And also, and this is probably the biggest thing I could say to anyone and any of our students, is going into this with the attention and intention of starting it as a business. That is the number one thing. And I think just kind of reflecting on it, why, we've seen this in, the past 7-8 years in this industry, like a lot of people getting in, and then there was like the great exodus, like they called it Airbnb bust. And, I think why is because it is such a low barrier to entry to get into, comparatively in real estate, right? You don't have to purchase property to get into it. You can lease a property, or you don't even have to lease a property. You can just partner with landlords. So because it's that low barrier to entry, people are just getting in. They're like, oh, this is gonna be great money, but they don't really realize like all the implications and actually how to start a business.
Well, and the thing I think that's really shifted over the last number of years is that although the barrier to entry might be essentially the same in terms of, you have to have a property and you have to get it online, what's really shifted over the last number of years of short-term rentals in particular is that the barrier to success has gotten so much higher than it used to be, because we're essentially exiting what I like to call like the early adopter and opportunity phase with short-term rentals. And now we're kind of getting into the professional phase of short-term rentals, where you have to treat this like a business and you have to approach it with a sense of excellence and professionalism, because the novelty factor of just simply being able to stay in someone else's house, that ship has just sailed a long time ago.
Yeah.
Guests expect a lot more.
Much more.
People value a lot more for their dollar than they used to. They're a lot less forgiving than they used to for mistakes that happen, which inevitably will happen in short-term rentals. So you got to really know what you're doing if you're going to get into this, and have realistic expectations on what it's going to take in order for you to have success in this industry.
And I even kind of reflected in our own market that we run over 70 short-term rental listings. And yes, the majority we do not own. And I look at it, there's been lots of other managers that have come in and they're getting super close to us. And we're like, oh, great. Like we see some other, and like, there's enough of the pie, guys. Like, we're humble enough to be like, please go ahead and surpass us, right? Like there's enough of the pie that, everyone can make money in this industry. But what I've seen time and time again is they get to about the 40, 50, even 60 listing mark, and then they've just gone crash. And either I've seen them go down to about 10 listings or get completely wiped out. And I've seen that, honestly, about 5 times, even in like these really big managers, and they've just crashed and burned. And I think there's a real reason behind this, and it's because they're not treating it like a business. they don't have the infrastructure behind them to actually carry that capacity and do it right.
So what a lot of people think Airbnb is compared to what it actually is are usually two very different things. What a lot of people still seem to think it is that you simply have to go get a property, any kind of property, doesn't really matter. Trust me, it matters. You just have to essentially put some random furnishings in there so that
grab a furniture from the marketplace, Craigslist, anywhere, just put it in.
Take a few pictures, put a listing online, and then all of a sudden, the cash is just going to start rolling in, right? And the reality is that Airbnb and short-term rentals, it's a hospitality-based business. So people want to have a pleasant experience. They want to have a place that's clean. They want to have a place where they feel safe. They want to have a place where they can create memories with their family. And a lot of people have become so disillusioned where they just think all you have to do is just set it and forget it and everything is just going to be wonderful and fine. But now we're entering a phase where you really have to bring your A game, not only if you're going to survive, but if you're going to compete and then also thrive in where we're going in short-term rentals in 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, and this is what's really huge, even just on the platforms itself. Like, professional hosts are really outperforming a lot of these kind of mom and pops or people just getting in for quick money. And that's for a reason. There is so much strategy with it, knowing what market to go into, knowing what types of properties, what types of amenities, what types of design. Like, there's so many different elements that come into this. And we've seen it from, the early days of Airbnb to even where we are now. It's like you definitely need to know what you're doing in order to not only survive, but thrive in this type of industry. So when you're looking at that, this is exactly what we coach and train on too, when anyone coming in here. And it's, I think, more important today to be able to really know what you're getting into and having odds in your favor really for success. And when you look at it, so even right here, you can see in the circle of our training right now, we literally cover all of these aspects, and it's for a reason. It's there's guest messaging, right? There's pricing strategy, automations, making sure you're setting up the listing for success. You're automating all the different elements. And it's not just automating to make it easier, but also for guest experience. They don't want to have to message you. They don't want to talk to you. They want to be able to get into a property, have exactly know what they're doing, and be able to have a really great experience.
100%. What we've seen time and time again is that when people come into this industry, it's kind of the Dunning-Kruger effect. I don't know if you've heard of this before, where basically people come into it where they have uninformed optimism, where they are really, really excited about what this could potentially do for them. But then as soon as they actually get into it, they realize very quickly that there's a lot more to it than what it appears to be initially. And then they quickly drop off into what you call the valley of despair, right? And this is kind of the major first test for a lot of people, where they're either going to stick it out and figure it out, or they're simply going to bounce out and try another opportunity and then just simply repeat the cycle over and over again. Now, if you are getting into this, or if you were currently in this, the key is, if you're in the valley of despair, is that you have to ask for help if you want to get out of it, and you have to keep going even though it feels really hard and challenging.
Honestly, guys, one of the easiest things to do is give up. I don't say it we've thought about it many times. We're just is this worth it? When we had, a call at 2 a.m, and then it's always the easy answer is to give up. And people look at us now, over 70 properties. We've had over $13 million in bookings since we've started. And people are like, oh, you guys, you make it look so easy. It's just such an easy business that you did overnight, right? And it's and even the technology is caught up, but it's incredible. And the thing is people only see the end result. They don't see anything that came before that. And that's even why we exist with our coaching and training, because you can just shortcut that. You don't have to go through all the pain and the school of hard knocks like we do to have to get to where you are. But the thing is you have to make that choice. It's are you going to stick it out, figure this out, and then get to those results you're looking for, or are you going to give up? And then that next opportunity that comes, you're just going to give up again, right? So really, you can get into these cycles. So this is something, as a coach and as a trainer and someone just been there, done that as well. And we still have those kind of rough days. It doesn't get easier. It's all the journey.
It happens more often than you think, to be 100% honest with you.
It's how we approach the problems, for sure. It's just different.
Now, the reframe I'd like to share with you that you might find helpful is that rather than approaching this business with the lens of, if I could just figure this out so that I don't have any problems anymore, you have to come into it with the expectation that when you're starting a business, you are going to have nothing but problems almost on a daily, consistent basis. Now, what's really interesting about business is I often say it's the ultimate personal development program that you could possibly put yourself on, because it is going to show you your flaws. It's going to show you your weaknesses. It's going to show you
your tenacity,
where you have fears and doubts. And then you have one of two choices. You can either back down and then bounce off and try to find an easier opportunity, which essentially the pattern of what you're going through is just going to keep repeating itself over and over again. Or you're going to learn what you need to learn, understand what you need to understand, and then make
yourself.
Make the journey up the mountain, out of the valley of despair. And then all of a sudden you're going to look back and go, wow, look at all that.
Was that even a problem? How did that even happen?
Yeah.
And I mean, really, guys, just like, this is kind of the question I'm going to end this with. But it's like, what would you rather do? Go back to that 9 to 5, and just say, oh, it didn't work? Or power through it and then, develop yourself, learn those skills. And guys, skills for business can be applied to any business. And this is really true. This is a short-term rental Airbnb business for sure, but we've started many other business from this, and we're going very quick with them because we've learned just business skills. So this is such an incredible way to grow and self-develop. And once you really get to these different levels, every level has a new devil. That's 100% true. You're going to really succeed with it, right? So this is really our message for you, is like, what's the alternative, and are you ready to level up?
So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. We just wanted to have an honest conversation with anyone that might be going through a challenge, might be having
feeling this with their Airbnb business. Like, don't worry,
just
you're not alone.
Just know that you are a normal person. You're not weird. These are very normal things to feel. But at the same time, these are signs that if you can overcome these challenges, then the next level is on the other side of that. And you are going to look back at yourself and go like, wow, I'm a completely different person because I was able to persevere and overcome those obstacles. So let us know your thoughts in the comment box below. Again, if you thought this was helpful, like, subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're aware the next time we drop our next video on this channel. We're going to be releasing a lot more content to you guys here. So we're really, really excited. If there's anything you want us to go further in on some of these topics, just let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you there, guys.